their Christian doctrine or their Catholic doctrine, it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. It's two different understandings. All right, read that.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5.
Yeah.
Casting down.
What?
Casting down.
Right, casting down, read on.
Imagination.
Imagination. Where's imagination's dwell at?
In your mind.
In the minds of the people. So we got to cast down the imagination. We can't go down and cast down. You can't go to grandma's house and cast down her Mary, right? A Virgin Mary. She might cast you down, right? Yeah. But you got to cast down the imagination in her mind. Everybody understand that? You got to make her want to cast it down. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather teach a person and let them take down that Caesar Borgias than me, karate kicking it off the wall, right? That might feel good, right? But that ain't going to do nothing but when I come back, there's going to be a bigger Caesar Borgias on the wall because I never cast it down on their spirit. Everybody understand that? I know you want to snatch that Jesus piece off of some of your brothers' necks, right? And cast it down into the drain, but you'd rather see them take it off, right? That's a beautiful sight when they take it off, right? When they cast those rosary beads down, right? That's what we want to see, right? So that's what the Most High is telling us to do. Read that again.
Casting down,
right?
Imaginations,
come on.
And every high thing,
right,
that exalteth itself against the knowledge of the Most High.
Everything that exalts itself against the knowledge, we're going to cast it down. Everybody understand that? That's why Israelites just can't get along with these groups, and we're not going to get along. No, I'm not going to. No, we're not going to share knowledge with you. We don't care what you're dealing with, right? We're here to cast down what your belief is, right? We're not here to respect your Buddhism, right? We're going to cast it down, right? And that's because I told us to do, all right? Just like in the 4 times, he told us to physically tear these things down. Whatever statue they had, whatever totem poles they had going on in their land, he said, burn them with fire. Right? He didn't say respect them, find a place for them and hide them or lock them up. He said totally eradicate them. So that's that same spirit that we deal with in the mind. We want to totally take out that thought that our people may have of believing in any other entity but the Most High God. Read on.
And bringing into captivity,
right,
every thought to the obedience of a Mashiach.
Right, we locking up every thought to the obedience of the Messiah. Right? So what is it, every thought? What you wear, what you eat, how you speak. We locking everything up to the will of the Mashiach Yahushua. Meaning you can't do anything outside of the will of the Heavenly Father. Everybody understand that? That's what it said, bring it to captivity. Captivity is what? Locked up. Right? So you can't allow yourself to speak or do anything outside of the will of Yahushua. Right? Because you just, you're not going to allow it. Right? Not of yourself or give, what do you call sin passes, right? Or give permission for anyone to break out of the will of the Most High. Read.
And having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience.
To do what?
To revenge all disobedience.
Read.
When your obedience is fulfilled.
So when you get right, you have to be ready to now revenge all disobedience. Then that's when you go to rebuke, right? Because you got it right. You keeping the Shabbat. So now you have I can say you have you're not being a hypocrite. You got legs to stand on. Now you can rebuke because you keeping the Torah, right? So now I don't do that no more. Maybe you have brothers used to hang, or maybe they used to smoke, right? You can't really get at them till you stop smoking, right? And you put that spirit away. Now you can come back to them like, I'm going off. I got demons, right? And they're like, man, you used to smoke with us. That's right, and I don't anymore, right? Because I learned something. Now what you say has weight, right? You can't be smoking with them sometimes, and now I want to come and rebuke them on Wednesday and smoke with them on Sunday, come back, rebuke them on Thursday. They look at you like, you a clown. Right? The key is that when your obedience is accomplished, when you got yourself right, you might have brothers that you came up with, whoremongers, right? You got to rebuke them. You can't be silent with them one day and rebuking them the next. It's got to be straight rebuke. Everybody understand that? If you put it on modest apparel, it can't be sometimes. So if you rebuke the apparel of your sister, she got a leg out, she got bosoms out, a back out, everything is out, right? And you rebuke her today, and then next week you got the same thing on, right? That don't make sense. You're looking like a hypocrite, right? If you're going to rebuke them, it's when you have accomplished that which your righteousness. Now you can turn and say to yourself, I used to dress that way. I used to do those things. But the Most High is giving me the strength and giving me the knowledge to put those spirits away. Everybody say this? Because you don't want to be a hypocrite. Give me Matthew 23. You don't want to be a hypocrite. Hypocrisy is something we dealt with as a people for a long time. You know what I mean? 2023.
The book of Matthew, chapter 23, verse 23. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees.
He said, woe unto you, destruction unto you, scribes and Pharisees. Now, if people call somebody a Pharisee, why, you know why somebody would call somebody a Pharisee? You're going to see right now. Read that.
Hypocrites.
Do what?
Hypocrites.
That's what you become a Pharisee when you're a hypocrite, man. You ain't trying to judge somebody in their wickedness and you doing the same wickedness, right? That's a Pharisee spirit. You understand that? Right. So if you hear somebody call somebody a Pharisee, that's because they put the law on someone who themselves are not keeping that law, right? Read on.
For ye pay tithe of mint and anise.
Right. That means they give their tithes. Read on.
And commend and have omitted the weightier matters of the law.
And have omitted the more important things of the law. The weightier matters, the heavier things. Right? Tithes are important too, but there's heavier things that you need to deal with. Because the Most High don't want your tithes if it's coming from wicked hands. Everybody understand that? Read on.
Judgment.
What?
Judgment.
Judgment. Right and wrong. That's what judgment stands for. Right and wrong. Good and evil. Read.
Mercy.
And then once you know right from wrong, good from evil, don't forget to be merciful. Don't forget that you might have one time had the issue that you're trying to help your brother or your sister with. Right? So be merciful in your deliverance. Read on.
And faith.
And faithful. Be faithful at what? That the Most High will perform the things that he said. Right? And you don't have to put things in how do we say, I got to take things in my own hands. Why would you put things in your own hands when the Most High hands is so much stronger than yours? Right? That just shows a lack of faith. I'm going to take things in my own hands. I got to do it my way. You want to tell me your way is better than the Most High way? Right? Your hand's stronger than his hands? Or does it make you feel better? Right? And at that point in time, who are you trusting in? Most High or man? Right? You trusted in man at that point. Right? Read on.
These ought ye have to done. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
Right. So he said you're supposed to keep the judgment, right? The mercy and the faith, right? These you have done, but don't leave the tithes undone. So he said he's not saying that that's wicked to give the tithes, but he's saying you giving the tithes, but you're not following the compassion, the mercy, the judgment of the Lord. You need to do both, in other words, or else you're a hypocrite. Everybody understand that? We don't want to be hypocrites. We teach to come out of hypocrisy. This world is rooted in hypocrisy, right? They have a justice system that seems to only lock just us up, right? That's hypocrisy, right? So there's a lot of things that we see and we speak against it, but we got to make sure we're not guilty of the very same, right? Paul thought on these things. He said the things that I don't allow. Let's give me that real quick. Paul spoke of these things. Give me Romans 7. And this is a battle to do this. It's not easy. We talk about it. Nobody wants to say, yeah, I'm a hypocrite. But I know everybody has done something hypocritical. Okay? All right. So I know everybody's been a hypocrite one time and caught themselves like that. I'm being a hypocrite right now. Right? And I need to cut it out. Right? But it takes awareness, examining of yourself to know if you're doing something that is of a hypocrite nature. It's just things that I allow. It's not 7 is chapter 8, and it is sin. It might be 7.
7 and 8.
7 and 8. We said things that I allow.
Things that I allow.
I think it's verse 15. With that which I do allow not.
Yeah.
7 and 15.
7 and 15. Yeah, 7 and 15.
The book of Romans, chapter 7, verse 15.
Right. Read actually start with verse 14.
Verse 14.
Uh-huh.
For we know that the law is spiritual.
Right.
But I am carnal, sold under sin.
Right. So Paul said, listen, the law is spiritual, but I'm carnal. I could be carnal at times. What's carnal mean? Fleshly, right? Fleshly, worldly. I can lean on my own interpretation, my own, what makes me feel better, right? Not what the Most High said. So the law is spiritual, but I'm carnal. I can be carnal at times. Once you examine yourself, you realize that sometimes your mind will have you go contrary to the will of the Most High. Read on.
For that which I do.
For that which I do, read on.
I allow not.
I find myself doing things that I would have rebuked somebody else from doing. Right? That's what he's saying. I've done things that I would have rebuked. I wouldn't allow somebody to do this, but I allow myself to do it. Right? Read on.
For what I would, that do I not.
Right. So what I would, that do I not. Now, what I would advise someone to do, I'm not doing it. Everybody understand this? He said, what I would tell somebody to do, I find myself not doing it. Right? You would tell somebody, well, you should pray 3 times a day. Right? Are you praying 3 times a day? Right? That's what the scriptures say. Right? You catch yourself and say, I just told a person to pray 3 times. Yeah, when the last time I prayed 3 times a day? Right? You start catching yourself like that. I'm going on. That's a hypocrite spirit right there. Right? That's how you tell somebody to eat right and you go to Burger King. Right? You need to eat better. Yeah. I take fries with that. Like, what kind of hypocrite are you? Right? You first have to do it before you tell someone else, right, that they ought to do it. Right? Read.
But what I hate, that do I.
Yeah, but I end up doing the things that I hate. Right? You hate laziness, but then you're being lazy. Right? Being lazy and say, man, I can't stand when somebody's lazy. And you're in your house being lazy, not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. Right? These are the things you have to recognize. The laws, that the commandments, there's laws of the mind. There's commands of the mind that govern the way you think. These are the most important laws for you to get in control of, because that would allow you to deal with the outer laws, the laws that interact with others. Once you get yourself under control, you'll be easily deal with other people. Everybody understand this? But if you don't have yourself in control, how are you going to be dealing with others? Right? Read.
Verse 16. If then I do that which I would not,
right,
I consent unto the law that it is good.
Right, I consent to the law that is good. Right, read on.
Now then, it is no more that I do it,
Right,
but sin that dwelleth in me.
right. He realized something, man. Listen, we all in the flesh. So we're gonna what? Drop the ball from time to time. We're gonna break the commandments from time to time. We're in the flesh, but we have to repent, and we can't make excuses for it. All right, that's the worst thing we can do. Just call yourself wicked and rebuke yourself, right? Before you make an excuse or an explanation, as they call it. It's another word for an excuse for why you've done wicked, right? All right, let's finish here. Oh, the mind. Oh, all right. Read.
Let's not read.
Verse 17. Now then, it is no more dwelleth in me.
Come on.
For I know that in me, that is, in my flesh.
In my what?
In my flesh.
Right. So he knows that he got sin in his flesh. Right. Read on.
Dwelleth no good thing.
No good thing. Right? There's a part of you that's no good. Come?
Right.
Okay. We'll see what kind of cut I was going to get on that. All right? So we have to realize there's some no good things about us. And if we can't go to the Torah and the scripture to support the thought that we're having, then we need to what? We need to try to rethink ourselves, reform ourselves. You know what I mean? We need to be able to be corrected. Right? Because I don't have a scripture to say I ought to do what I'm trying to do right now. Right? So I need to rethink this. Right? Not so be so proud or so strong-minded to do wickedly. Read.
For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good, I find not.
Right. He said, I got the will to do it. I want to do what's right, but how do I get it done? That's the hardest time. That's a hard part he's trying to find out. Hey, how do I get it done? The will is there, but man, I can't think about how to get it done. How to stay right. Right? So if Paul is going through this in the spirit, how much the rest of us? Right? He's apostle of the Most High God. So I don't have to guess or wonder if you're going through it. I know you're going through it. Right? And you know I'm going through it. But once we examine it, we have that more. We have to. That's why these things were written. Things written aforetime is written for our what? Learning. For our learning. So now we're reading it like, man, this is where it's at. So I need to make sure I'm keeping under myself. This fight, this battle, I'm supposed to be going through it. All right, read on.
Now, if I do that, I would not. It is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me.
Read.
I find then a law that when I would do good,
right,
evil is present with me.
Right.
For I delight in the law of the Most High.
Right.
After the inward man.
Right. He said, listen, I find this a law then. When I go to do good, some evil is trying to move me another direction. Right? And you say, he find this is the way it is. I'm trying to do good, and here comes some wickedness. Right? Trying to move me some other way. Right? So if you're finding the same thing, that just fortifies what Paul is saying is true. Like I said before, I said, listen, it's going to get to a point, or you should be getting to the point where it doesn't take a bunch of historical events for you to understand the power of Yahweh. You should see it in your own life now, right? Now that you've given your life to the law, statutes, commandments, you should be seeing the Most High moving within your life. And these battles that you're going through, and the downfalls, and the will of the Most High performing yesterday. So you don't have to go to an historical event. Yes, the historical events are there for us to learn, but the best learn you get is your experience. Huh? Read.
But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind,
right,
and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin,
right,
which is in my members.
Right. So he says, good is set against evil and is happening within my mind. Right? Good is set against evil and all these battles is in my mind. Read.
O wretched man that I am.
Right.
Who shall deliver me from the body of this death?
Come on.
I thank the Most High through Mashiach, our other one. So then, with the mind, I myself serve the law of the Most High.
Read that one more time. That's the key right here. He gave us the key at the 25th verse. Read that.
So then, with the mind, I myself serve the law of the Most High, but with the flesh, the law of sin.
Right. So with the mind, I'm going to serve the law of the Most High. If I falter through the flesh, he falters. He repents. But he's going to keep his mind on the laws, statutes, and commandments. He's going to meditate on that. Right? And he's going to thank the Most High for giving him the law, statute, commandments. So we got to be thankful for having a Shabbat day. Come? Because we could have been out there on the long lines in the Walmart, right, trying to get water for who knows, like it's not water coming out your tap in the house, right? You act like water is something brand new, right? Wow, we could have more water. I have people buying like I don't know how many gallons of benzene in it. I don't know, right? So, you know, and stacking propane like you're going to cook for the whole neighborhood, right? So, but this is what Esau does. He creates that hysteria. So what? That his businesses do well. This is an economical thing here. Everybody's in cahoots, right? Right. So you got the weather report being brought to you by the friends at Home Depot. Saying you can do it yourself at Home Depot, right? And you're like, wow, you know, Home Depot is sponsoring the weather report. I wonder why. Right? Because you go to Home Depot, why everybody buying batteries for stuff they didn't even have. Right? They can't find the flashlight, they buy batteries. Right? Because they're out of their mind. They're mass hysteria. But we being wise, it stills you, it gives you stability. It makes you say, let me go and see what's really going on. And the spirit movie is, spirit, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one else. It ain't gonna hit that. The spirit already moving. So we're not really worried about it too tough, right? We're going to do the little things that we have to do to prepare. Because you got to use wisdom preparation. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to sit out there and fly a kite. You know what I mean? But, you're not going to tempt the Most High. But at the same time, you ain't going to go wild out, right? And be there on a gas line for 3 hours and the storm is like 10 days away. Right? Why am I on a gas line for 3 hours? Right? Last week, Wednesday. But because Esau, they're weak-minded, they get hysterical. They start running around the place, buying, generators for every room in the house. All right. So let's go back to Deuteronomy. Back to Deuteronomy. We're in Deuteronomy 12:1.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 12, verse 1. These are the statutes and judgments which ye shall observe to do in the land which the Most High, power of thy fathers, giveth thee to possess it.
Right.
All the days that ye live upon the earth. Ye shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which ye shall possess serve their powers.
Right.
Upon the high mountains, and upon the hills, and under every green tree.
Right.
And ye shall overthrow their altars, and break their pillars, and burn their groves with fire.
Right. They got an area in Miami called Coconut Grove, right? I don't know what groves are. Groves are when there's certain type of trees and bushes that when they grow, they create these it's almost like tunnels, right?
Yeah.
That's what groves are. Groves are when the trees come together and they create like a path underneath. And this is what these nations used to set up these groves so they can go down there and do all kinds of, right? So this is their thought pattern. This is why they created groves. So they go down there and they do their seances or whatever the hell they're doing down there. Nobody sees any kind of stuff. And they do it within the groves, right? So that's why we burnt down the groves. Not that we had an issue with the trees, but the things that were being done in seclusion, in darkness, okay? So, like I said, you got Coconut Grove down there in Miami, which is groves down there, right? they kind of pretty much cut them mostly down as it is and just put down apartments and stuff. But it still has the same name, Coconut Grove, right? But it used to be full of groves and areas that everything was under the trees. All right, let's read.
And ye shall hew down the graven images of their powers.
Right, Caesar Borgia's, right, Selassie, right? These are the images that we would see today. But we don't burn them down with fire, we cast them down with the word of the Most High. We don't.
And destroy the names of them out of that place.
Right, come on.
Ye shall not do so unto the Most High your power, but unto the place which the Most High your power shall choose out of all your tribes to put his name there, even unto his habitation shall ye seek.
Right.
And thither thou shalt come.
Right.
And thither you shall bring your burnt offerings and your sacrifices and your tithes and your heap offerings of your hand and your vows and your free will offerings and the firstlings of your herds and of your flocks. And there you shall eat before the Most High your power, and ye shall rejoice in all that ye put your hand unto.
Right.
Ye and your households, wherein the Most High thy power hath blessed thee. Ye shall not do after all the things that we do here this day. Every man whatsoever is right in his own eyes. For ye are not as yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which the Most High your power giveth you.
Right, so they haven't crossed the Jordan yet. So he let them know, we going in this land, we're going to do it all in this land. We're going to eat, we're going to praise the Most High, we're going to live, wonderful in the sight of the Heavenly Father, right? We're not going to live like we've been living. How they've been living? In the wilderness, right? Like nomads, going from one place to another place, setting up camp, setting the tabernacle up, we got to move again, battling this nation, battling that nation. He said, that's not how we're going to be living. We enter into the land, it's going to be all good, right? And we're going to praise the Most High. We're going to do his will and his will only when we enter the land. This is what Moses is telling the people, right? Read.
Verse 10. But when ye go over Jordan and dwell in the land which the Most High your power giveth you to inherit, and when he giveth you rest from all your enemies round about,
right,
so that ye dwell in safety, then there shall be a place which the Most High your power shall choose to cause his name to dwell there.
Right.
Thither shall ye bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings, and your sacrifices, your tithes, and the heap offerings of your hand.
Right. So the Most High was going to choose a certain land within our land, a place that he's going to set up the tabernacle. And we're going to bring everything there for the purpose for the oblations and for the sacrifices. They let him know when we go in the land, that's what we're going to bring everything to, right?
Which ye shall vow unto the Most High, and ye shall rejoice before the Most High your power, ye and your sons and your daughters and your men servants and your maid servants with you.
Right.
Take heed to thyself, that thou offer not thy burnt offerings in every place.
Don't create other altars. Don't create other bringing it to Jerusalem. Even if you have your Levite that dwells near you, because there was Levites that dwelt within all the lands. They had their sections of all the lands, plus they had this in groups, and they did the service. But even him, you can't do it there. You got to take it back to to Jerusalem, right? You got to take all the oblation that was being given to the Most High is to be taken back to Jerusalem. All right, read.
Verse 14. But in the place which the Most High shall choose, in one of thy tribes, and there thou shalt do all that I command thee.
Right, so what tribe was that? Whose area? What tribe area was it?
Judah.
Judah, right? And Judah is where the Benjamin, I said Judah. In Benjamin is the area where Jerusalem was at, set up, where the tabernacle was set up, right above Bethlehem, right? In Benjamin was where this
It's in between Judah and Ephraim, the two green ones.
in between Judah. Can you expand it? Actually, yeah. But I say it now. Benjamin, Jerusalem, in the land of Benjamin, is bordering Judah. Yeah, we travel a lot. I don't know, Benjamin is so small, but that's really,
That's what's called.
we're the youngest.
Smallest tribes.
Yeah, we're the smallest tribe.
Yeah.
Let's read.
Verse 15. Not within all thy gates.
Right, he's not saying that you cannot, the priest, the local priest bless something, but he said we're just coming to give it the big oblations, the Passover, go to Jerusalem. What's those 3 holidays? Who knows? Passover. Pentecost, right? Those are the 3. All right. Right. In order is the Passover, the Feast of Weeks, in what? In Jerusalem. All right, which is in the land of Benjamin. Okay, read.
What?
Right?
Thy power, which he hath given thee. The unclean and the clean may eat thereof.
Right, so man, a lot of people read that backwards. Right? What does it mean the unclean and the clean may eat thereof? What does that mean?
No.
What does it mean?
Okay.
What does that mean? The clean and unclean may eat thereof. You do it every day, or every week, every month. Y'all do it every day, every month. What does it mean? When you unclean may eat thereof. It's talking about in your own gates, in your own house. Whether you're clean or unclean, eat, kill, eat, bless the food and eat and enjoy. Right? Doesn't make a difference. Only made a difference when what? When you were doing what? Bringing it to where? When the unclean could not come. But there's no a lot of people read. All right, you only get the flesh that eats sanctioned. Read that one more time.
Verse 15. Notwithstanding, thou mayest kill and eat flesh in all thy gates.
Right, in your own homes. Read on.
Whatsoever thy soul, to the blessing of the Most High thy power.
According to the blessing of the Most High thy power. That's the keeping the law, statutes, commandments. So that's according to the law. So you can eat whatever your soul
given thee.
Which he has given us. He's given us the law. Read on.
The unclean and the clean.
The unclean and the clean. Read on.
May eat thereof.
May eat thereof. I mean that no matter what your condition is, whether you're clean or unclean, you may eat thereof. Read on.
As of the
roebuck. And what's a roebuck? And what family of animals are those?
Deer.
They're both of the deer family. Right? They're both of the deer family. Read on.
Only ye shall not eat the blood.
Right? You know it's against the law to eat the blood, right? Con? Right, what do you gotta do with the blood?
Drain it out.
Drain it where? In the ground, upon the ground, right?
Dig a hole.
Dig a hole. Read on. Sometimes you dig a hole, sometimes you don't dig a hole. But see, now when I went back to the land, I seen firsthand how they deal with that. Like in their like between 2 or 3 houses, they would have their own little shack where they would kill the animal, right? And when they kill the animal, they had like a floor, and the drain took the blood and went down into like a grove, like a valley kind of situation, and that's where the blood would go. Well, whatever they killed, the blood would travel and go that way. Then they would wash it down and it would travel and go that way, right? And then that it's almost like it's not like a canal. Like they have the swale at the end of the road where like a dip, like a little tip there, and that's where it goes. It all goes right there, right? And you know, it goes away, goes into the ground. And I was like, okay, I see. So whatever would have the flesh hooks and everything, and they would kill the animal, and they would let the blood drain, and it would go down and travel into that. They set a pipe to take it where it needs to go, right? So it just shows that we had a way. right? You had to wait. These children couldn't have been more than, I wouldn't give double digits, 8 or 9 years old. They got a knife and they cutting up this animal. And they're like, damn, at that age, they cut their own hand off, right? But they had a knife and they were a sharp knife to go to that. It was cutting up the animal, do what they got to do. You know what? You know, maybe he's with blood all over his hands and, you know, laughing and joking and been killed. You know what I mean? They were just there. Right? So, you know, it just shows there's a different mentality here in this man, right? They hide that part of life from us. But that's a part of life, you know what I mean, that to eat up his flesh. You know what I mean? That's a part of life. You know what I mean? It's something that we got to get used to. We got to get, you know, feeding yourself, feeding your household. You know, so definitely every year for the Passover, you know, we go do the slaughtering of the lambs. And, you know, we invite brothers to come out and just get that experience. You know what I mean? Get that, you know, reconnected with your roots. You know what I mean? And you're going to make me invite you to the next one.
I've done it.
You don't want to use a little part of it anymore? Pass. Oh, you don't mind?
Not good.
Well, maybe slaughtering lamb next year. All right, let's read.
Okay.
Verse 16. Only you shall not eat the blood. You shall pour it upon the earth as water.
Right, as water. Come on.
Thou mayest not eat within thy gates the tithe of thy corn, or of thy wine, or of thy oil, or the firstlings of thy herds,
Right.
or of thy flock,
Uh-huh.
nor any of thy vows which thou vowest, nor thy free will offerings, or heap in the place.
Right, so sometimes some offerings, you eat of the offering, but you only eat free will offerings, you can eat of that offering as well, but you only can do that, you know, at the sanctuary. Read on.
Servant and thy maidservant, and the lead all that thou puttest thy hands unto.
Right.
Take heed to thyself, thou shalt enlarge thy border, as he hath promised thee, and thou shalt say, I will eat flesh, because thy soul longeth to eat flesh. Thou mayest eat flesh, whatsoever thy soul from thee. Then thou shalt kill of thy herd.
Go back to the big map. Right.
Only be sure that thou eat not the blood.
Read.
For the blood is the life, and thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh.
Come on.
Thou shalt not eat it. Thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water.
Read.
Thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee.
Right.
When thou shalt do.
We got to make sure all the blood is out of our meat. Right. So we drain it. If we are the slaughtering it, we make sure we drain it. If we buy it, we make sure we cook it all out. Everybody understand that? And we don't make sure it's cooked out. Read.
Thou shalt take and go unto the place which the Most High shall choose.
Right. So he says, if you live too far, you don't have to bring the animal, but you still have to go down to Jerusalem. Because it might be too far to travel with the animal. Right. So bring down your oblations with it. Right. Read.
And thou shalt offer thy power, and the blood of thy, and thou shalt eat the flesh.
Right.
Observe thee, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, for the Most High thy power. When the Most High thy power shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land. Take heed to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them. After that, they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods.
Right. Don't even inquire. Don't even ask them what did they do, how they worship their God. A lot of times, you know, we want to know too much, right? He said, don't even inquire. It doesn't really matter what these nations, what these gods, what these religions have to say. We stay with what the Father said. All right, read.
Saying, how did these nations serve their gods?
Say what?
Saying, how did these nations serve their gods?
How did the nations serve their God? We're not supposed to say that, right? What do we care what the nations, how they serve their God, right? How much time they bow down in Mecca? How many times they go around the rock? We're not going to split. It's a man. If you try to bring that knowledge to us, like we're supposed to know this, right? Like the brother with the Kevin, he want to break down things. We don't care what they did, right? That's not our God. That's not our nation. It's not our concern. Anybody understand? Right? Sometimes we might have a little knowledge just to prove the foolishness that these nations are guilty of, but that's not for our learning. Right there?
Romans 16:19.
16:19.
Why still good?
Can't read that. 16:19. Romans 16:19.
The book of Romans, chapter 16, verse 19. For your obedience is come abroad unto all men.
Right?
I am glad, therefore, on your behalf. But yet I would have you wise unto that which is good,
right?
And simple concerning evil.
Right. We want to stay simple concerning evil. We don't need to go into the depths of all these religions, right? I think we had that book, what, 2,500 religions, was it?
Yeah.
20, right? 2,500 religions. I don't need to go into the depth of all these religions, right? I'll stay simple to that which is wicked and wise to that which is good. Let me know all these commandments. Let me know these 613. Let me know how to apply them to my life, right? And to do what's right in the sight of the Most High. That's what we need to do, all right? Laminated for them, right? 2,500 deities, right? Encyclopedia of gods. We don't need to read the encyclopedia of gods. We just know that it's there, right? Right? That's good enough. This is about as much of the book as I need, right there. I don't need the rest of this book. All right, all right.
More is in there too.
I'm sure it is. Right?
And the God of peace shall bruise Satan under your feet,
right?
Shortly.
Come on.
The grace of our other one, Mashiach Yahweh, shall be with you. Amen.
Right. So the God of peace will bruise Satan under your heel. You know what? He's going to take down Satan out of the way. But he said, just be wise to do that which is good, and simple to do that which is evil. Let's go back to Deuteronomy. Right. Good verse.
How did these nations serve their powers?
Tell them where you at.
Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 30.
Right.
How did these nations serve their powers?
Right.
Even so will I do likewise.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not do so unto the Most High thy power. For every abomination to the Most High, which he hated, have they done unto their powers.
That's what they do to their powers. Every abomination that the Most High hated is how these nations worship their gods. So, they have these little seances, they have these rituals. Everything the Most High hate, that's what they do. So why find out what they do, right? In the Hindu religion, Hindu and I believe also in Buddhism, right? They smoke, they suck in smoke and blow it at their god, right? That whole concept of smoking is a worship of another god. And they would take things, they light it up, they have the hemp, and they suck it in and they blow it in the face of their god. So that's where smoking comes from. I've never asked a question, where smoking come from? It is a worship of a god, right? It's not something that somebody, thought of one day for no reason, all right? So we smoke, we're drawing in smoke and blowing it out of our face. That is a way of worshiping a false entity, a false god, all right? I did a study on that, where smoking come from, all right? And, I guess it shouldn't surprise me because the scriptures say it. Everything that these nations do was towards their God. Every wicked thing was towards their God. All right. They have fertility gods, which allowed them to what? To fornicate. All right. And to serve their fertility god, whatever the case may be. But they, they have, that's where they get his mother gods from. And all these different type of deities. Right? That's not of us. Right? These queens. Queen of the universe, queen of that. Right? Where's this queens in the scriptures? Is there a queen in Israel? Where's the queen of Israel? Exactly. So you gotta understand, these things are other gods. Right? These are other gods. Right? And we need to get those out of our spirit. You know what I mean? There's no queen in Israel. There's no queen of heaven. All right? Everything is of the Most High. Okay, so those deities, those Isis, and we're coming up to what? This Mother's Day stuff, but not only that, but Valentine's Day, things of that sort. They're all sought after these queens. Right? So we need to get in that queen spirit.
Yes.
Okay, the New Year.
Yeah.
Right. So really understand these things all rooted from other gods. Right? So we're not going to smoke. We're not going to make queens out of people. Right? Matter of fact, when they say a man is a queen, that's not a good thing. Right? That's like what? That's drag. A woman in drag. Right? They call them queens. Right? So think about these things and what they relate to. Okay? Let's read.
I got a precept about this.
Sure. What you got?
Wisdom of Solomon 12:3.
All right.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 3. For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of thy holy land, whom thou hatest,
right,
for doing most odious works of witchcraft.
Right, doing what? Witchcraft. Most I hated he didn't just have us destroy the Canaanites just because they were Canaanites. What they was doing in the land was odious, was disgraceful, and it needed to be destroyed. All right, read on.
And wicked sacrifices.
Wicked sacrifices, come on.
And also those merciless murders of children.
Right, sacrificing their own children. Right, read on.
And devourers of man's flesh.
Right, eating flesh. Read on. Eating man's flesh, I should say.
And the feast of blood.
And what? Drinking blood. Right, that's where they get these this obsession with vampires and things of that sort. People that drink blood. This all comes back from deity worship. Right? It all goes back to that. Werewolves, right? All back to that. Read on.
With their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew.
Read.
And the parents that killed with their own hands souls destitute of help.
Right.
That the land which thou esteemest above all other might receive a worthy colony of God's children.
Right. So now what? The beautiful land, right, Jerusalem, needed to receive a worthy colony. Right? A worthy set of people needed to come into that land. Because the people that was in that land before we was there, they were unworthy. They were there drinking blood, killing their children, doing all kinds of madness. Right? Smoking, blowing smoke, right? Doing all that kind of madness. And we had to what? Come there and what? Take all of that out and show them that we're, how righteousness is supposed to dwell upon the land, upon the earth.
And so it was only called the Holy Land when we got there.
Exactly.
It wasn't called
It ain't holy no
Land.
more. It ain't gonna be holy until we get back there.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
It's off over there now. Right? They're having what? Gay parades.
Right.
Through the streets. In your holy land. Right?
Right.
It's just a land now. But when it's returned back to the children of Israel, it will be its virtue is going to come back out. Right? Its virtue is going to reassert. That's why you go to the land now, it's like rock and sand. You wouldn't believe there's ever grass. The way that rock and sand look. For miles and miles and miles of rock and sand. Right? You wonder like, what happened? Like a bomb blew up over there. Right? But that show you the Most High said He would take the virtue out of that land until the people is back in the land. Right? And if you just imagine for a minute all those miles of rock and sand actually being green grass and flourishing trees and stuff like that, that would be amazing. It would be amazing. All right, let's read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 12, verse 31. Thou shalt not do so unto the Most High thy power, for every abomination to the Most High, which He hated, have they done unto their gods.
They've done it all. Go ahead.
For even their sons and their daughters, they have burnt in the fire to their gods.
Right. Come on.
What things soever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereto nor diminish from it.
All right. So everything that Moshe is teaching us in his law, adhere to it. Do not take away anything and do not add anything to it. All right. That's what it says. Do not diminish. So don't take away anything from it. Keep these commandments. All right. Chapter 13.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13, verse 1. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams.
A what?
Dreamer of dreams.
Right, come on.
And the sign or the wonder come to pass.
Right.
Whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other powers,
right,
which thou hast not known, and let us serve them.
Right.
Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet.
Right, even if it came to pass what they saw they dreamed. But he's saying, let's leave the commandments of the Most High. Right? A lot of people get confused because you got people that will say, this is going to happen tomorrow, and then it happened. So people say, oh, the Lord must be with him. No. Satan give power too, right? So don't let that trip you up. That they said something and then it happened. He says, if they're saying to move away from the commandments of the Most High, don't hear that person. I'm not with that person. Everybody understand that? That's when you know if it's of the Most High or not. All right? Not worry about any miracles, right? Because, like I said, Satan got power too. The Most High put power in his hand, right, to do certain things. We learned that in the book of Job, that Satan was able to go there and cause all hell throughout Job's life and his family, his servants and everything, all through his will. The Most High allowed him to do that. All right. So if we can have that example, we know we ain't gonna be moved because somebody was able to predict tomorrow, right? Or predict your. So I don't care what you predict, right? That you say you are what do they call them now? They are psychic, right? Right? We ain't following no psychics. Right? Thus saith the Most High. That's what we follow. All right? Law, statute, commandments. You ain't about that. We ain't gonna hear what you gotta say. I don't care how many dreams you have. You dream that the bridge is gonna fall in the water, and the bridge fall in the water. I'm not gonna look at you no different. All right? You know what I'm saying? I'm just let you know I won't hear no more of your dreams. Right? Unless you keep the law, statute, commandments. Then I know your dreams have a purpose. Everybody understand that? Read.
Or that dreamer of dreams. For the Most High, your power proveth you, to know whether ye love the Most High your power with all your heart and with all your soul.
Right.
Ye shall walk after the Most High your power.
You see that what the Most High said here? He said the Most High prove you with that dream of dreams. He want to see if you could be swayed. Oftentimes things will be brought to your face and look amazing. And the Most High is going to say, let me see what he's going to do. Is he going to take this miracle, this amazing event, and move from the commandments of the Most High because of it? All right? So the Most High be proving you. What are you really about? Right? Are you about this righteousness, or are you looking for some power wherever you can get it? All right? Some people come in this word, they're looking for power, where they saw power in the word, so they went that way. Okay, they saw power over there. They left this and went that way, right? And they'll jump around and go jumping from different philosophies because they think there's power over there. Okay, that's not what we are. We are on righteousness. Right? That's what we are, righteousness. All right, read. Verse 4.
Ye shall walk after the Most High your power, and fear him, and keep his commandments,
right,
and obey his voice,
right,
and ye shall serve him, and cleave unto him.
Right.
And that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams, shall be put to death.
Shall be what?
Shall be put to death.
Now, how did the most popular dreamer of dreams, right, in our era, how did his life end? With a bullet, right? One of the most popular dreamer of dreams amongst our people was what? One bullet. Because his dream, although it did come to pass, right? Did it not come to pass? Wasn't our children hand in hand in the school system? Are they drinking out the same water fountain? Are they clapping on the same toilet? Right? This is what he wanted. This was in his dream, right? So what difference? That's what he dreamed. He said that we're going to be together. Integration, right? It came to pass. But was it for our benefit? We suffer through integration. Why do we suffer through integration? Because we no longer, right, know who our enemy is. Our enemy become blended in, right? Our enemy used to be on the other side of the tracks. Now he's your daughter's boyfriend. Holy cow. What do you do now? Right? Right? That's a problem, right? But this is something that our enemy understood. He said, I can infiltrate. And now he's infiltrated. He brings confusion. Now there's confusion in the hearts. In a lot of families, there's confusion in the heart because you might have different nations within the family. You know what I mean? Yeah. Loved ones is now, sitting at the table and, they're of other nations. Right? Something that it's a condition that we're in. Why are we in that condition? Because we broke the commandments of the Most High. Right? He said you will mingle them among us. So then it's going to be hard to know or divide those lines to who your enemy is. But all you have to do is keep the commandments. And the Most High said, I will sift you like wheat. We don't have to divide the line. He said, let the wheat and the tares grow together. Everybody understand that?
That's right.
So don't worry about it. That's not for us to worry about. Yah has his work, right? The angels is going to take care of that. Take care of that order right there. We just got to do what we're supposed to do and keep the law, statute, commandments, right? That's it. And then the spirits will align. The spirits will divide. Okay. But understand, this is a condition. That dreamer of dreams that caught the bullet, right? Which people celebrate yearly, Martin Luther King Day, right? His dream came to pass. Exactly the way you said it too. Said little black boys and white girls, who come together. And they sure did. Right? To our demise and our destruction, though. That part he left out. Right? To us having confusion of faces, confusion of culture, confusion of direction. Right? Right? We didn't get enhanced, we got diluted. Right? We used to be the pure, and now we got diluted. Right? So that's the understanding we have to understand. Okay? But with the grace and mercy of the Most High God, we still found our way back to his law, statutes, and commandments. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And we're going to be grateful and thankful that even though we've been, our walls have been breached, right? We still, the Most High hasn't forgotten us. He hasn't forgotten the covenant that's made with Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. And we're still his people. And 2019, we keep the Torah, we keeping these commandments. We in the Shabbat day. Just like our forefathers was 2,000, 3,000 years ago, they were gathered together in these verses, keeping the Shabbat day, right? In different languages. We were doing it in Hebrew. We were doing it in Greek. We were doing it in the Roman tongues, the Latin tongues. Now we're doing it in English, right? And wherever our people are throughout this earth, who's down in the land of Ham, we might have been doing it in some of Hamitic dialects, right? That remnant still kept, right? So that's how it's an evidence that the Most High is still with us. Everybody understand that? Let's read on.
Because he has spoken to turn you away from the Most High your power, which brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you out of the house of bondage,
Right.
to thrust thee out of the way which the Most High thy power commanded thee to walk in.
Right.
So shalt thou put the evil away from the midst of thee.
Right. You know how this fits Martin Luther King so well, or whatever dreamer that came before him with the same spirit, is that he was a preacher man who knew the Bible. He even in some of his earlier speeches knew that we were the children of Israel. But when he had gotten the floor to have his big speech, he spoke nothing of these things. Right? He didn't tell his people to go back and keep Torah. Right? And go back to the commandments of God. Although he was aware of all these things, it wasn't through ignorance. It was through design. Okay? Because his earlier speeches, when he was just a preacher in the black church circuit, he was kicking that knowledge. That we're in a land of that we're the God's chosen people. They have recordings of his speeches saying that we're God's chosen people. Right? But he won't bring that out. Right? So just showing that all these prophecies come to pass as written in the Bible. All right? Pick it up, verse 6.
Verse 6. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is as thine own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers,
right?
Namely, of the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee,
right,
or far off from thee, from the one end of the earth, even unto him,
right,
nor hearken unto him.
Really?
Neither shall thine eye pity him,
right,
neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him.
Right, don't hide him. You gotta expose that brother or that sister that's trying to get you to go off, break the commandments of the Most High. Right? Now, he said in these verses, he said, let's go serve these other gods. But today you're not gonna say, let's go serve other gods. What would they say? What would that spouse say to you secretly, or that family member say to you secretly?
Let's go to church.
Let's go to church. Let's go to what? Let's go to carnival. Let's go put it on big. Let's get out. Let's get naked. Let's go on the streets. Right? Right? What else you want to do? What else would they do?
Try it out.
Try what out?
Let's go to the swinging trapeze.
Right? They got to come go to trapeze. Right? Where the swingers go. Right? You ever tried that? Let's go try it out. Right? Man, we're just gonna go for one night. Let's go to the strip joint. Right? Let's go to that. KOD ain't around no more. What's around now? G4.
G4.
Right? Let's go to G4. Come on, man, just one night.
It's G5.
I don't know. G5. G5. I'm gonna buy a number. I think there's a G4 somewhere too. All right, let's go to G5. All right, let's go make it rain. All right. This is how they're going to try to entice you to go serve other gods, because you know that the Most High will not want you in G5, right? So what God would want you there? The God of this world. The God of this world wants you there, right? Most High don't want you there. You know that for sure. There's no scripture you can say that says, all right, I ought to go to G5, right? But there's plenty of scripture that tells you that what you ought not to, right? So we know that enticement, to do otherwise, other than what the Father said to do, is coming from Shaitan, right? No matter how they say it, all they're going to try to get you to do is break the commandments, right? Let's go eat something. Let's go to Red Lobster, right? Now, you don't have to eat lobster. But I said, man, the place is called Red Lobster. I got an issue with that. You know what I mean? Walking in there, right? But all the other places I could have went, why would I go there, right? So to show you that you could be lured into other gods, but they're not going to call themselves gods, right? They're going to come with something else. So be mindful of that, right? You know, go to this club, that club, drop like, you know, put your freaking girl dress on. You know, not that dress. You know the dress I'm talking about, right? One in the back of the closet that you swore you would never put on again. Put that one on, right? Because you kept it. You see, you didn't burn it, you didn't throw it away. You kept it because say you know you kept it there too, right? Put that one on, right? And let's go hang out, right? And let it all hang out, right? So this is how you lure into other gods. You understand? Right? Knowing that you're going places that you ought not to go, doing things you ought not to do. Okay. And this would be the people near you. This is friends, this is family, right? You know what I mean? I can speak myself. My brother come to town, I watch the time. I hang with you a little bit. I ain't going where you going. I know you going out somewhere, but I don't need to be. Right? So I'm gonna chill with you right here. Right?
Make sure we drop our own car.
I'll pick you up and I'll drop you off. Right? I'm gonna drive my own car to this event. Right? So when I see things get out of hand, I'm gonna get out of here. Right? So this is all life lessons. All right? These are life lessons. All right? These things that you got to be aware of. So you don't get lured into things. We all got family members. They want to come visit you. You live in South Florida. It's the vacation capital of the world. They want to come visit you down here. But they on another agenda. Right? When they want to go to Florida, they want to go to South Beach. They want to go where it's popping. Right? They want to get it popping. Right? I don't know. My pop is popping. Right? I don't get it popping anymore. Right? So you do you, but we want to say family. We want to keep it righteous. All right, these are all life lessons, but this is how it comes. The scripture says they come to you secretly. They don't want nobody else to hear what they ask you to do, because they know they ask you to do something that they know you're not about that. All right, those of us that's been in this word, and our family already established, they know what we're about. They're not gonna say it out loud for everybody else to hear. They know you're gonna stand on your square. They want to say it to you secretly. You know what I mean? All right, so this is the spirit. This spirit still dwells on the earth. Be mindful of it, okay? Read.
Verse 9. But thou shalt surely kill him. Thine hand shall be first upon him to put him to death.
Right.
And afterwards, the hand of all the people.
Right. So in our land, that person will be put to death. That's right. But we can't put people to death today. Okay? All right. Keep the stones away. All right. You can't sue anybody. Right? But you could rebuke them. Right? You could correct them and rebuke them, and you could let them leave alone. All right? But we're not, the punishment of the commandments is not upon us. Okay? Through the blood of Mashiach Yahushua. We deny his blood and we bring the punishment of the commandment. Anybody understand that? That you deny the blood of Mashiach Yahushua. You're saying that the blood is not good enough to reform that person that's in sin if you were to bring judgment on that person. Right? You're omitting the blood of Mashiach Yahushua. Everybody understand that? All right, let's read.
Verse 10. And thou shalt stone him with stones, that he die.
Right?
Because he hath sought to thrust thee away from the Most High thy power,
Read.
which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. And all Israel shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as this is among you.
Right. So you not only did you chastise them, but you do it out in the open, so everybody heard and seen what happened. This way you could kill many birds with one stone, as they say. Right? Everybody see the judgment happen to this brother. They don't want no part of that. They don't want no part of that, and they get right themselves. Oh no. 27 and 5 of Proverbs. Check it out. I don't know what's top of my head. That's why the judgments weren't done in private. It wasn't behind closed doors. Let's get the judgment right here. Don't tell nobody. Now the judgment got to be right in front of everybody, so everybody will learn. It's not just to embarrass that person, right? But that everybody will learn and see what this evil, what will be the outcome. Everybody understand that? Hadar.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about.
Sharp?
Yeah.
Razor sharp?
Razor.
Let me find out. Let me see how sharp it is.
Proverbs chapter 27, verse 5. Open rebuke
Right.
is better than secret love.
That's it, brother. That's secret love. Why am I going to take you in a secret thing? You know, listen, sometimes you got to be rebuked openly.
Right.
Not just for you, but for all those that might be thinking to move the same way. Right? Especially if I've come to you before already. Now, oh, you really trying this now, right? You know, maybe scriptures have a protocol. You go to that person, you bring somebody else. If that person still want to be hard-headed, let's go into the congregation. Right? And that open rebuke, we hope the shame of it will prevent you from going any deeper into that madness. Right? Sometimes shame is a powerful thing. Everybody understand that? Shame can be, you need to use shame, right? To help you. Shame can actually help you. Right? Because I remember growing up, the worst thing will happen is if your mother came and beat you in front of the class. Right. The shame of it all. Right? Tear you up, right? Tear you up right in front of the class. You won't stop acting a clown from that point on for the rest of the year. Right? Because what? The shame. It ain't the first time you got your butt whooped, but in front of everybody? Man, that's jacked up, right?
In front of that girl you like.
You know, in front of her too.
Yeah, you know you like a girl in the classroom.
She looking at you like, oh man.
Send her a letter with a checkbox. You like me?
Yes, yes,
That's no baby. You gotta rebuke those letters. Oh, my daughter's out here. Rebuke them. All right? Put on that letter. Love the Most High God. Send it back.
You can write no letter?
They probably do. They text now. I don't think they write letters. Text back. I love the Most High God. Let's save the Most High. That's what you text it back. All right? Let's read.
Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 12. If thou shalt hear say in one of thy cities, which the Most High thy power hath given thee, to dwell there, saying, certain men gone out from among you, and have withdrawn the inhabitants of their cities, saying, let us go and serve other gods.
Evil spirit upon them. All right? They have an evil or Belial. They have an evil spirit on them. Come on.
Then shalt thou inquire and make search and ask diligently.
Right?
And behold, if it be true,
Right?
and the thing certain that such abomination is wrought among you.
Right. So you hear a rumor, you can't just run with the rumor. Right? Shema. You just can't run with the rumor. You have to make sure that it is true. Because sometimes we hear, oh man, brother's doing this wickedness, or somebody doing that, and we just believe it. And we never went to the person or got any facts or any judgment. You can't do that with the Most High. Everybody understand that? You cannot just hear a rumor and make it real without you making the proper diligence. He said diligently search it out. Give me a Sirach 11 verse 7.
The book of Sirach, chapter 11, verse 7. Blame not, before thou hast examined the truth.
Right, examine the truth, man. Before you blame somebody, before you say, yeah, that person did that. Right? Hold on, read on.
Understand first.
Understand what really happened first. Read on.
And then rebuke.
And then you can rebuke the situation. Everybody understand this? It's not that we be hasty, we hear something evil about a brother or a sister, and we just believe it. Before we say, if you really thought that it was a problem, you go to that person and say, listen, I heard this. What's good? Right? And then hear and understand what was going on. Then you're open to rebuke and say, okay, that's off. Right? Or you find out otherwise. Right? Read on.
Answer not before thou hast heard the cause.
Come on.
neither interrupt men in the midst of their
And
talk.
when you go to that person, don't go to that person as if you know they did that thing. Let them talk. Let them tell you what's going on. Just like you go to a person, we're already convicted in your mind that they did it. So you're not really asking the question. You know what I mean? You're kind of making a statement. But you say, I went to them. You went to them, but how did you go to them? As if they did it already, right? That's like when the police stop you, right? And act like you committed a crime. And you know you didn't do anything, right? So you don't, nobody likes that type of interaction. No one likes to be accused of something. Speak to the person. Hear the matter. Don't interrupt their speech, right? Read on.
Strive not in a matter that concerneth thee not,
Right?
and sit not in judgment with sinners.
Right? Come on.
My son, meddle not with many matters, for if thou meddle much, thou shalt not be innocent.
Right?
And if thou follow after, thou shalt not obtain, neither shalt thou escape by fleeing.
Right. So what? It's going to be what? So don't meddle to me. Don't start digging into every situation. You know, you don't need to be who's that? Investigator, right? In everybody's situations, but you know, there's a proper way of dealing with things. All right, there's a proper way of dealing with things. So we deal with it according to the commands. Listen, we hear a person out, we hear something. So right here in the scriptures, he says, first diligently find out, right, if this thing is true before you send for the judgment crew, right? Before you start packing stones up, diligently find out. Is this the case? Did they do this level of wickedness in Israel? Right? And once you find out the facts, then you can move accordingly. Everybody understand that? You had to hand up and Shaquat had his hand up. What did you?
Deuteronomy 19:15 and Proverbs 14:15.
What you had?
John 5:39.
John 5:39. John 5:39 is search the script. Huh? And what you had?
Deuteronomy 19:15, Proverbs 14:15.
Read Proverbs 14:15.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 15. The simple believeth every word.
That's right. So the scriptures say the simple believeth every word. Right? Somebody tell you something, you just believe it. Right? And you simple-minded, right? You should be, you shouldn't have to be convinced. Something, some fact, something. Right? Read on.
But the prudent man.
But the what?
Prudent man.
Read on.
Looketh well to his going.
Right. Look as well as what he takes a good look before he makes a move. He don't just move off of something that he heard. Everybody understand that?
Sirach 21:25.
25.
Sirach, chapter 21, verse 25. The lips of talkers will be telling such things as pertain not unto them, but the words of such as have understanding are weighed in the balance. The lips of talkers will be telling such things
spreading rumors
as pertain not unto them.
They quick to talk about somebody else. Read on.
But the words of such as have understanding,
but those that have understanding, come on,
are weighed in the
we
balance.
think before we speak, right? We weigh in the balance, whether it's right or wrong. All right, interesting verse. Don't remember that one. All right. So quiet. Just read Squat. That's what I said. 20 and 7. Okay, let's see what we got.
Sirach, chapter 20, verse 7. A wise man will hold his tongue till he see opportunity, but a babbler and a fool will regard no time.
Close. That's more going into just somebody running their mouth. You know what I mean? But what we're dealing with here is searching out a matter before we react on it. That's where we at. Searching out a matter before we react. Finding out Fight it out
Sorry.
before we react, right? Let's go back. Let's finish. Right. Everybody have a good verse, right? You get to this.
Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 14. Then shalt thou inquire, and make search, and ask diligently.
Right.
And behold, if it be truth, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought among you.
Right. So you have to know that it is certain. How do you know it's certain? You mean you did all the investigations. You know that this is fact. It is real. There's enough witnesses. How many witnesses should something be established? 2 or 3 witnesses. All right. So it's not because one person said it. It has to be all things done in righteousness before you could know if a thing has been done. Read.
Thou shalt surely smite the inhabitants of that city, right, with the edge of the sword.
Right, because why? You bring in judgment. Before you bring judgment on somebody, you can't falsely bring judgment. In this society, how many people in jail false accused? Right? It's a high percentage of people that's locked up right now, especially amongst our people, that was falsely accused. Okay? You can't get them years back. Right? They talk about, they give this money and that money. You can't pay somebody back for 10, 15 years of their life. You know what I mean? That's you've taken away, you've added 10, 15 years of bad experiences and have taken away 10, 15 years of great experiences for that person. Right? Read on.
Destroying it utterly. And all that is therein.
Right.
And the cattle thereof with the edge of the sword.
Right, with the edge of the sword, destroy everything. Read on.
And thou shalt gather all the spoil of it into the midst of the street thereof.
Come on.
And shalt burn with fire the city and all the spoil thereof, every whit, for the Most High thy power, and it shall be in heap forever. It shall not be built again.
Right, so that city want to go off and do that which is wicked, it would not be able to be built again. All right? So we know when the Most High bring judgment on a land, on a place, he wants to destroy it to the very foundation, that it can never be resurrected. All right? Has Egypt ever rose back to power? Egypt never came back. All those these brothers that be coming up with Kevin and all this stuff, this is Egypt prior to the Most High. Right, Egypt, there's nothing coming out of Egypt. Right? This is thousands and thousands of years ago. Right? All these popular pharaohs, right? Where are they now? Right? Egypt is poor. You go to Cairo right now, you know what you're gonna meet? A bunch of panhandlers begging you for $1. I'm trying to tell you, Egypt is a poor country. You go to Egypt, it's not popular there. Right? I don't know, they try to show you the glitzy parts of Egypt, but anybody that went to Egypt, but we got brothers that live in Egypt. They'll let you know, Egypt is a hood. Right? Remember, these countries, we think of countries, we think of large, massive areas. These countries, here in America, gives us a different perspective of a country. Because in that part of the earth, a country would be considered a state in America, right? The size of Florida, Egypt is probably not much bigger than Florida, right? When you look at a map, we can see what the square footage of Egypt is, right? If anything, you definitely ain't bigger than Texas, right? And that's a whole country in itself. Just like within a state, we have different, different neighborhoods within the state, right? In Florida itself, you got Sistrunk, right? You got Western, you know what I mean? You got, Parkland, right? And you got Parkway, right? Right? So it's the same way in these countries, right? The same way in these countries. You got Wilton Manors. Let's stop right there, right? I always know the opposite of that. Right? What's that?
390 square miles.
Where?
300,000, 90 square miles.
Who's that? 300 how much?
300, 390,000 square miles.
390,000 square miles. It's pretty big, right? What is the square miles of, let's say, Texas? You can look that up. Just have a comparison. I want that.
268,000.
268,000 square miles. So it's about 100,000 square miles larger than Texas. So it's about the size of 2 states, right? All of Egypt. Okay, so it's a considerably smaller land to say than America, right? So Egypt, right, having that land mass, you know what I mean, it gets all its props from this one city in the whole of Egypt. What the rest of Egypt was doing, right? When you talk about Egypt, you're only really talking about the city that the Pharaoh was in, right? Where Goshen, where Israel was at, and the neighboring city. The rest of Egypt was like a wasteland, right? It was mountainous and, not much happening there, right? The popularity, because they call Egypt as in Egypt is one city. Egypt is one city in Egypt where all this went down, right? There's one area in Egypt where all this went down, you know what I mean? So you can say like it all happened in Broward. And that's as much, for the whole of Florida, Broward is not big, right? So all this happened like in one section of Egypt, right? All that we read about, all the great pharaohs and everything that came about was all in this area, right? The rest of Egypt was, right? They were starving, they was coming to this area for food, everything, right? So you got to put things in perspective, geography-wise perspective, how large and land mass and things were going on. So they talk about Egypt as if Egypt was one city and the whole place was so great. It was not. It was not. It was a city in Egypt, right? It's called the city of Ramesses. I want to say, but we'll look up the city name, right? But I know you go to Cairo today, ain't nothing to see, and that's where a lot of the pyramids are, and the people are starving over there in Cairo. All right, read that. I talked to a guy from Egypt that we used to see on the mechanic place.
Yeah.
He tell me about Egypt, man. He said the place is filthy. Right? He said he'll never go back to Egypt. And he's from Egypt, right? He'll tell you about that place. All right, so read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13, verse 17. And there shall cleave not of the cursed thing to thine hand,
right?
That the Most High may turn from the fierceness of his anger, and show thee mercy, and have compassion upon thee,
right?
And multiply thee, as he hath sworn unto thy fathers.
Right. So once the Most High mark a place is cursed, and he tells us to destroy it, do not cleave onto anything. Don't say, yeah, we'll destroy it, but we're going to keep some of these. Right? Some people want to take some of America with them out of his kingdom. That's what happened with Saul. That's right. Right? He was supposed to kill Amorites. Or Ammonites. Amalek. And kept some. Right? And kept some. Right? So when we say America to be destroyed, he's talking about all of it, man. Don't think you're going to take any of this place with you. Right? This place needs to be destroyed. All the many cities, the many things that we might say, oh, this is well, this looks good, that's going to be destroyed too. Right? Not one brick shall be upon brick. That's what the scripture says.
You're not going to make America great again?
Not a great mess. That's what it's going to be. Right? A great fire. All right? So, that's the mentality you got to have. Because that nothing cleaves to your hand. Don't try to take anything with you. Everybody understand that? Don't try to take anything with you. Don't say, no, but not this part. This part is so nice. Right? It all has to go. So the scripture said, when that city has found this evil that was in that city, he said, burn it, destroy everything in the city. All right, read.
Verse 18. When thou shalt hearken to the voice of the Most Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 1.
Just stop right there. I will pick it up with Deuteronomy 14 after the announcements.
No, we can stop.
Oh, you don't want the announcements to? All right, announcements you got going.